Okay, Simon, so just a few reflections to start with on your impressions of this morning, having seen Ableton in a typical classroom situation with secondary school children.
Right. It was good to see them respond, particularly to the learning resources you provided. It seemed to be good for the teacher, confidence that all the learning was relevant. It was great for us to see how Ableton Live has been used in the classroom. Some good ideas, developing themes, looking at music for atmospheres, things like that, which is what the software is great for. You know, there's an improvisation element, but you can also provide some structure. And it was great to see pupils sort of react to that and ask questions that made a lot of sense, really, like, how do I do this? And it was great that we could help them to move their ideas forward, and it was a good way to see their discovery and kind of follow that sort of journey that they were doing. So some great ideas, and I think it really worked well, and the teachers seemed quite added confidence that the kids were being engaged, they were having fun but still learning. Something that I'm finding a lot with Ableton Live is kind of this hoodwink thing. They don't think they're learning, but they really are. The resources were a great way in for them, because I think everybody knew what the goal was, and the structure really helped them, but it still allowed them to have some creative freedom.
So what do you think about this approach to working with Ableton, where they're not learning how to operate the software first and then doing the music project? They're sort of learning about music and learning about Ableton at the same time. Do you think that works?
I think that learning method does work, because, as I mentioned earlier, the discovery aspect, I think, for young people is really important, because if everything's laid out and it's too overstructured, then they become interested. That the self-discovery, I think, they're so used to this now that, what if I click on this? What if I do that? And as long as the fear's removed, some people this morning say, I don't want to break it. And it's like, it's nice to be, them actually say that. But if the element of discovery, I'm really a strong believer in. And if it's structured where they're learning to create something, it makes them ask the questions. And that's what the teacher's there for, to guide the learning. And I think that's definitely been taking place this morning, and I think it really does work.
Yeah. This school's very fortunate, because not only have they got the Ableton software, they've got the push device, the MIDI controller there, which enables them to do more than they can do with just a computer. Yeah. So how have you found it being in a classroom where you've seen push being used as well?
Yeah, it's been really good to see push. Obviously the original intentions was to get away from the computer and be more musical, and it's good to see that happening, because of the tactile nature. As I mentioned, not just young people, many musicians find it quite liberating to, you have an idea, and you're not necessarily going to translate that idea with clicks and mouse buttons. So for it to be tactile, whether it be a rhythm, whether it be chords or a bass line, I think it's great to see this interface being used for its original intentions, really, to make music quickly, but also a good workflow, a logical workflow where your ideas are being recorded and then manipulated. So if you want to add some reverb or add an effect once the process has been explained, when the pupils have asked for them, they think, oh, yeah, that's great. And just to change channels rather than going over, or change tracks, going over to the computer, I know it's like less movement, but also you can remain focused. And I think that's one thing that I saw happen this morning. The focus on making music was certainly facilitated by the push.